while we're talking about issues of migration, over in the UK, the Starmer government is waking up to the fact that reform has just absolutely towed them up. You know, I've been saying it multiple times in recent weeks, but every published poll in the UK since May has had Nigel Farage's party Reform in the lead. And they realise that one of the big issues at the moment is migration, particularly illegal immigration. But Labor's having their conference in the UK at the moment, and they've come out with a new bit of policy, which is extraordinary to think. I mean, I can't imagine this would ever even happen in Australia, to be perfectly honest. But this is how scared they are of Nigel Farage. The Home Secretary in the UK, Sabana Mahmood, has given her speech at the Labor conference and said foreign citizens will have to volunteer in their community. They'll need to have a spotless criminal record. They'll have to speak English to a high standard, and they'll have to be a net contributor to the economy to qualify for permanent settlement. And that is the equivalent in Australia of permanent residency. So if you are a migrant in the UK and you say, I want to stay here and live and work permanently, you have to be a net economic contributor. So that means you can't be taking too much welfare. You need to have good English, spotless criminal record, a contributor to society. You've got to volunteer in your community. I mean, this is stuff that was almost unthinkable for a Labor government to come out with when they were elected 14 months ago. I think it proves just how scared they are of Nigel Farage, that you've had Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, talking about we risk becoming an island of strangers, and now you've got them coming out with what are some of the harshest migration laws I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and they're also saying it's going to take people up to 10 years. So 10 years to qualify for permanent residency. In Australia, it's 5 to 7 years, I believe, is the average time it takes people. So it's a long time that we're talking about. I mean, I'm not sure the practicalities of this. How are they going to measure things like volunteering in the community? And then the other question is, well, what's going to happen to the people that don't qualify for the permanent residency? Are they actually going to deport them, or are they just going to get to stay in the UK? Because that's the fundamental problem. You have a lot of people in the UK illegally, more coming every weekend. On Saturday, another 150 cross the channel on a small boat. So you've got lots of people who shouldn't be there. I don't think the problem is really permanent residency. It's the fact that they're there in the first place, and that's the fundamental problem. Unless Starmer can stop the boats, all of this is just trimming around the edges. It won't change the fundamental issue.
And to your point about how do you monitor the community service, because that is certainly something that can be fudged a little bit. But when I was actually looking into this a little bit further, regarding this spotless criminal record, well, you can actually go around about here a little bit, because migrants who commit crimes actually won't be automatically barred from being a permanent resident. They just have to wait a little bit longer to be able to reapply, and then they might be encouraged to then go for a different visa, and then at that visa process is where they then could be denied because they have a criminal record. So it just felt like it was a lot of roundabout circles, but by this point, to your time, like this could be 10, 15 years down the track where they've still been living in the UK. So they have said, though, that they will be deporting them. Whether or not that happens is...
I mean, they're trying to find a halfway house, because Farage has said that he'd get rid of permanent settlement altogether. And potentially even consider deporting people who are already permanent residents in the United Kingdom. So he's gone all in on it.
Well, Keir Starmer was quick to call him a racist.
He said it was racist, right? So they're trying to find a halfway house here. But this is the problem. If you're trying to be half pregnant on these policies, and, you know, Sir Keir Starmer is trying to look like he's tough on migration, it's very hard to do that and be convincing when you have the actual product in terms of Nigel Farage. Like, you know, he's trying to be Nigel Farage from Temu, and it's not going to work. It will not work. If you can buy the genuine article, why would you buy the knockoff?
Yeah, exactly.